Alright, so let's go to Lina versus Demagogue here. They're ready to get started. Laskus in chat saying, Lina Morgan must be a new player. Never played against him. I believe Lina Morgan is a her. Search Lina Morgan on Google. I'm not gonna. Is this safe? I feel like this is not safe. Okay, never mind. Okay, so Lina Morgan is a Spanish actress. Look, Jasper, you can't wink at me using an anime emoji and expect me to think that it's kosher after that. I think using anime emotes is the most guaranteed way to make me think that it is not in fact safe for work. So Demagogue's going to open with an Emperor here. Pretty solid. It would be very difficult for... well, actually, it's not completely outside the realm of possibility for Lina to be able to actually get the favor here. So if Lina has an Ancient Master, Lina can literally do nothing this turn, or then go ahead and play the Ancient Master in IMS, and then the Emperor dies. So maybe something that Lina wants to consider doing. I highly suspect that this first conflict, that this first turn is going to be passing through the entire conflict. Oh, you can redirect IMS to the Emperor. Okay, you're right. Okay, so then maybe that doesn't work then. You're right. It says choose a character. So. Okay, so he is actually protected. And he would have to have 2 Ancient Masters. It does seem like kind of a waste of a conflict character, but I mean, just, you know, I guess paying 2 conflict characters to kill 8 fate worth of value and get the favor seems okay. But it looks like he doesn't have that that line of play available to him. And Toshi Rambo there, yeah. So Demagogue can use. Alright, sorry. Lina can use a Study of the Natural World here to go ahead and resolve the Exodia ring at Toshi Rambo, and so Lina's gonna leave it up and just go to a different province instead. And here's Secret Cache. Probably not the best hit you could have found here. I assume Demagogue has Way of the Scorpion. Yeah, I mean, for sure. If he didn't have it, he probably might have taken it off the secret cache anyway. But here's a fine katana. It's just still not enough to make the student of the town not a potato. So we're probably gonna have to see a second fine katana come out here too. Yeah, Bonsai is gonna come out. And I think what this means is that Demagogue is going to be forced to use the bow here, and then we're going to see Lina use against the waves to restand the student of the tab. Oh, okay, or Tadaka comes instead. Yeah, Demagogue saying that he thinks you can choose what card you discard. Alright, so, oh, I got a raid, cool. Thank you, Insanity Rises, for coming over with a bunch of viewers. Bring over the party. Alright, so here comes the Tadaka usage for this first part. So it's just going to discard one random card, and it's Censure. So that's pretty good. Plucking that away. Demagogue's going to have to pass here, but that's a break for Lina. And actually, we see a Seal of the Phoenix come on now too, and then we're going to have some Studiouses dropped onto Tadaka. Or just the one Studious, at least. Guy Hancock asking, I missed the end of the Scorpion game. Granddaughter came upstairs. Who won? Which Scorpion game? Was it the one that you were watching with Insanity Rises, or was it the one that you were watching with me? If it was the one that you were watching with me, then it was Demagogue. Demagogue actually has won all the Scorpion-related games so far on this stream. So Earthring goes off here. We can get a card draw for Lina. Oh, Insanities. I don't know. Insanity would have to tell you that yourself. That was the Welsh Dragon versus the English Scorpion. Studio stays on. He has a Seal of the Phoenix, Arash. So So this Tadaka is still a scholar. So Hante's gonna stick around for the time being, but still pretty decent turn for Demagogue for Lina there. Able to break a province through Hante. Hante Duke comes out now, also finding Diplomat and 2 Mia Mystics. Mia Mystic pretty big here because you can go ahead and sack one of them to make Tadaka a non-scholar. I have to imagine that if one of these Mystics comes down, then Lina might go ahead and just cloud it. So Demagogue might want to consider buying 2 of them. Just depends on what's in his hand and what kind of fate usage he wants. Let's see. Did he discard both Ancestral Shrines? It looks like he didn't. He kept both of these. So that's pretty surprising. Yeah, there's 1 Mia Mystic coming down. Comes down with the fate on it. So I think you just go ahead and pass. So that tells me that he's probably not going to go ahead and nuke this Seal the Phoenix this turn. Maybe next turn, though. Oh, he bought it off of Toshirambo, yeah. So, well, if you didn't want to... I guess it doesn't really matter. You didn't pay for the fate anyway, so it doesn't matter which one you buy. So Demagogue right now, I guess trying to figure out if he wants to buy the Mia Mystic, the other one, or if he wants to buy... oh no, he's going to put Trading on the Sand Road. Okay, so let's see what we got. So Demagogue has Miyako, Way of the Scorpion, Court Games, and another Trading on the Sand Road. And meanwhile for Lina, she has an Against the Waves, Ancient Master, Bonsai, and Court Games. So I think as Demagogue, you just go ahead and buy this Ancient Master for yourself. Yeah, he's gonna go ahead and do that. And then he's probably gonna Miyako over the Ancient Master to dishonor this Yojimbo. So pass from Lina Morgan there. Hope everyone's doing all right on this wonderful Sunday, Memorial Day weekend. Probably not a whole lot going on there for those of you in the States right now, but you know, just make sure you enjoy yourself and relax and just take advantage of the holiday. Demagogue saying he hoped he would see consumed by 5 fires with Trading on the Sand Roads. I actually don't. I think this deck is still running Consumed by 5 fires, but. Alright, so we're going to see a conflict here at the Sanpu Kuseido. This is going to be a political conflict. Of note is that if the Tadaka blocks here, then you can go ahead and block the bow effects with the Yojimbo. And so I think that is in fact what Demagogue is going to do. or what Lina's gonna do. Mike, this is not an Enlightenment deck. This is a normal Seeker of Void deck. Alright, so Lina plays the Way of the Scorpion on the Mia Mystic. Okay, go ahead and use that now. Trading to mess with Enlightenment combos? I think so. I know that Demagogue was very well aware of the Enlightenment deck existing when he made this deck, right? So Seeker of Knowledge comes into the conflict now. If you have something else that you don't want to get Emperor redirected, then you probably want to go ahead and try to IMS here to win the conflict. That'll sort of force Demagogue to expend the redirect on something else. But again, it just depends on how much you actually care about winning this conflict. So Lina deciding here. I know Lina's a fairly new player, and some of these decision lines may not be as readily apparent to people who are newer to the game. Here's a Court Games to go ahead and dishonor the Seeker of Knowledge. And a counter Court Games to re-honor. So still 2-2. I mean, the Court Games here really didn't do anything to affect the conflict since it is at San Pukusado. And so still 3 Fate available for Lina. What we might see is an Ancient Master dropped into this conflict. Although that's actually kind of dangerous because it can be bowed by Hante at that point. All right, yeah. So he is going to go for the IMS part, just to go ahead and try to get that to burn the redirect. This opens up the ability for Lina to play like Cloak of Night or something like that to go ahead and boost. What? And Demagogue just burning Bonsai. I guess just because you can. It was in the trading, and using the losing honor to go ahead and tank honor, and there is the Cloak of Night. Demagogue does have box on now, so you can go ahead and box. Yojibo here, of course, preventing the bow from the Emperor. And so Lina's actually going to win this conflict here. And draws a card from Studious. Here's an Against the Waves from Demagogue, from Lina's hand, to go ahead and restand the Seeker of Knowledge. That's pretty sick. It was at Seppuku Sado, Oscar. Alright, so Against the Waves is used on the Seeker of Knowledge, and now we're going to see an attack here by the Shiba Yojimbo. The bow from Hante has not been used yet. So we'll see if it happens here. This is going to be a water conflict at Toshirambo. We'll see a defense from this Ancient Master, and then we're probably just going to see bow from Hante. So I think if you're Lina, you're fine with this. If you have a conflict character, you can go ahead and drop it in and try to play some cards to win the conflict. Both the redirect and the Hante Bow have been used already, so seems okay. Although this Ancient Master in the conflict did belong to Lina. Okay. Yeah, Lina gonna go ahead and use Miyako to restand in here. So this is Demagogue's Miyako. And we get a pass here. Can Lina break this? Does Lina want to break this? Yeah, Toshirambo, obviously very juicy for Study of the Natural World. Lina does not have a Scholar in the conflict, so can't play Study of the Natural World here, but, you know, that Exodia ring, definitely very tempting. We already saw one Sentry get pitched. Water ring here will allow a restand on the Tadaka. Still military conflict left for Lina. Sorry, for Demagogue, and Lina still has a political conflict. So we'll have the attack here coming out onto Seppuku Sado. Because the Seeker of Knowledge received the IMS from earlier, Lina's gonna is gonna be forced to take this break. So Seppuku Sado will break, and we're also gonna get, I think, one keeper. I know, no keepers. But this goes Cloud the Mind. But now we get to attack Toshirambo. If Lina has the Study of the Natural World in hand, Demagogue might want to consider blowing up this Mia Mystic now. And yeah, so there is the Mia Mystic. This card's a lot of skill from Tadaka. Missed it previously. Yeah, he definitely could have done it earlier to prevent the card draw from the one Studious. And so Lina's just going to have to pass here. And there's Display of Power to go ahead and resolve that air ring. So that'll take Lina down to 7 honor. We'll pass here, and Favor will be tied. Actually, no, Favor will not be tied because Hante is there. So Lina's done a really good job of navigating the Hante so far, but you know, need to start making some progress here. The trading on the sand runs definitely hurt a lot because it sort of... Well, I guess it gave and it took, right? So he got the Miyako out of it so he can get the water ring. But he also lost against the waves and an Ancient Master. Getting 2 for 1 for discarded because of Seal feels so bad. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why in Lion I haven't really run Seal the Lion, just because it's, you know, there are plenty of characters I would love to be commanders, but it's just so hard to justify having multiple commander type attachments on something and then have it get taken away by just one thing getting sealed. And so Demagogue flips yet another Hante dupe. Still holding on to both these Ancestral Shrines, so I don't really understand. I'm not understanding why we're keeping these. I feel like at this point you want to go ahead and get rid of them. Unless I'm missing something here. Lina's kept both the Ancestral Shrines. I mean, it's obviously very good for, you know, maintaining your honor against Scorpion, but keeping both seems really greedy. But here we're just going to see Season of War, and now they're both dead. Yeah, the problem is Phoenix doesn't have Scholars like Lion has Commander. Yeah, I would agree with that too. And that's definitely the limiting factor there. Although, you know, we're starting to get closer to that point. Student of the Tau, I think, is a surprisingly decent card. You know, just having Rally is definitely strong enough, but then also the ability of being able to push people away from Void Provinces is very impactful, I think, and probably one that is a little understated. Keep in mind that Lion also didn't have commanders like Lion has commanders right now, too, right? So it started out with just like Zentaro, but then eventually more of them got printed. So as time progresses, I'm sure there will be more Scholars that come out that make these kind of effects worthwhile. Lina going to a 3-bit here as opposed to Demagogue's 5. And seeing Steel for join this match now tells me that the other match is over, and I guess I'm happy to report that that Enlightenment is dead. I think that Villabriga, as Usagi mentioned earlier, was experienced playing into deck, being in the same meta as the creator of the deck, Daigotsu Kaiko, and he was able to defeat Enlightenment. So, as we expected, you know, Scorpion is certainly one of the counters to the Enlightenment deck. But hopefully we can discover some other counters that exist besides just within one clan. So we're seeing a pretty strong attack here from Lina. Both players actually taking a while here. There's only been one break, and we're down to, you know, below 20 minutes for Lina here. Obviously, inexperience playing into this, I'm sure. Here's a military fire conflict going at the Toshi Rambo. This time we do have a Scholar for realsies, and that's going to be Suki. We'll see if Demagogue has drawn another censure to prevent this this study of the natural world. No defense from Demagogue here. So we saw one display of power played already. Here's a Mono no Aware to go ahead and nuke these guys. So that's pretty big. Allows him to draw a card also. Display of power gone. Just 1x. Still has enough fate for it. And now Lina's going to go ahead and Tadaka here. Might as well use all the Tadaka stuff since it is going to go away at the end of this turn. Demagogue does get to choose if he chooses to use the Hante redirect here. So Lina pointing out that that Demagogue gets to choose. Although this is eating into Lina's time, so maybe needs to speed the process up a little bit. Alright, so here comes Study of the Natural World. Time for Exodia Ring. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and censor that. Demagogue, maybe not ready for that to happen, for sure. We could see Lina play another one. Here's the studios coming out on Suki. There are only 2 in Lina's deck, so if Toshirama dies here, then that's the end of the the 6-frame conflict. But no second one, unfortunately. So we're not going to see the 6-ring of resolve. It's just going to be display of power instead. So a rather unceremonious end to that conflict. Alright, so here's a conflict at KM. With the favor, this will put Demagogue at 1 despite the fact that the Ancient Master is dishonored. We can see if maybe there's a defense here. Probably not. I think what's going to happen is Lina's going to go ahead and flip it over to political. Or what you could do actually is go ahead and defend with a Prodigy and then defend and switch it to you can switch it to water, so that way you have the restand available, and then you also honor Suki. But no defense here. No display of power for Lina. Instead of display of power, it is the Study of the Natural World. Water would give 1 fate to Demo, that is correct, yes. Alright, so action is still on Demagogue. He's going to go ahead and play the Slovenly Scavenger. Lina's going to pass here. Could flip the conflict, honestly. You would make this a... Oh no, okay, so he already switched it to water, okay. Never mind. Alright, here's the bonsai on the Slovenly Scavenger. That's going to allow Demagogue to get the break here. And so yeah, KM is going to break in the process of this. Water Ring is going to restand. Nothing. But the Water Ring was claimed, so we get to go ahead and honor Suki here. So Demagogue down to 6 honor. Lina's still sitting pretty at 9, although it's going to go down. Oh no, it will stay neutral at the end of this turn. But Prodigy of the Waves now able to go ahead and make an attack here. Only 4 cards in hand for Demagogue. And so Void attack here at Shameful Display. Probably not what you wanted to hit. But, I mean, your options are pretty limited here, right? So, like, I think Demagogue is on Effective Deception. So, that's not super great either. Void here. Demagogue choosing not to defend. I think he's going to use the Emperor Bow. But that also lets the Prodigy just restand. Maybe Demagogue forgot? He passes here, and here's a Storm. That's going to give Lina the 3rd break, and it's also going to let him kill off this Hante. So pretty good, although now Demagogue also has free reign to go ahead and attack in here. And so what his options left are going to be Upholding and Shameful. So hopefully he chooses well. Goes for the Air Ring here. Both boards are going to wipe except for this Prodigy of the Waves coming into the next turn. He hits Upholding Authority, so chose poorly there. No defense from Lina. Lina's going to go ahead and pass. Demagogue will take the break. Here's Spies at Court. And he hits a Seal of the Phoenix and a Studio, so they're actually pretty good hits there. And meanwhile for Demagogue, his hand is a little lackluster. So it's Assassination, Court Games, and Way of the Scorpion. I think of these cards, you go ahead and take... it's either the Court Games or the Way of the Scorpion. I think both are... I think Way of the Scorpion is probably worse for you as the Phoenix player. So yeah, Lina does take the Way of the Scorpion there. So, after seeing Demagogue's hand, Lina's in a really good spot here because Lina she'll be on box. Demagogue also on box, mind you, and his first player, but you know, certainly having a board versus not having a board, and also having hand advantage and fate advantage going into this next turn is pretty big. There are no more Emperors left, so you can't hope to flip those, and instead you flip a Lost Papers, which is, I guess, negates negates the board on Lina's side. What a card. Alright, so coming out for Demagogue now is going to be Master Whisper, Finding Diplomat, and Blackmail Artist. Not a whole lot of stats available, but meanwhile for Lina, she has a Solemn Scholar, a Student of the Tau, and an Inferno Guard Invoker. I think you can buy all of these, honestly, at this point. You do need to be careful about Mono no Aware again. There are 2 copies in Demagogue's deck, but you know that he doesn't have it in his hand. but he could potentially draw it off of the Storehouse and the Master Whisperer. Eric's saying, I would play Studious and Crane if it was Duelist instead of Scholar and it didn't have the reaction. You mean just giving the character sincerity and that's it? Would you really play that? How often are your duelists leaving play to where you would want to play a zero fate attachment that gives one palm and sincerity? I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, I think the card would be decent at that point, and probably playable for sure, but I don't know if I would rather have that over like the raw stat pump of a fan. So. Like, you guys already have a free attachment, right? The one you have a new name that does not. It doesn't give you sincerity, but again, like the people that you want to be sticking attachments on, you don't want them to die. So. So it's just kind of awkward, right? I mean, like it'll give you a card eventually, but it's a delayed effect, and I feel like you just want the raw stats more so than the one card at that point. All right, so City of the Open Hand takes an honor from Lina. Lina with 3 Fate open right now, and just a Blackmail Artist and a Master Whisperer for Demagogue. Attacking into Stronghold here is actually kind of dangerous for Demagogue, because if he attacks in, then that's a free reset on this Prodigy of the Waves, and also this Mia Mystic, right? The Solemn Scholar can also turn into something bigger too, and that could be real trouble for Demagogue. Yeah, I don't think it's as bad as Pillow Book for sure. Pillow Book is infinitely superior to this. Alright, sorry, infinitely inferior to this hypothetical Studious. Duelius, some would say. For those of you who are joining in now, yeah, this is the semifinals. The finals will be on my channel for this week, actually. But as promised, there is no Enlightenment that will be on my channel, so since Enlightenment lost in the other part of the bracket. So if you guys are waiting for the finals, please stay tuned. It'll take place shortly after this is done. Demagogue right now, trying to figure out what to do. Again, you know, like, attacking is not great here. So even if you choose not to attack into Retire to the Brotherhood, your other option is Shameful Display, which gives Lina a fate and also lets Lina honor one of these characters up. So I think, honestly, what Demagogue needs to do is just go ahead and use the Storehouse so he can figure out all of his options. Alright, so Waning Hostilities comes out instead. So what that tells me is that Demagogue probably not going to attack this turn. And he's just going to sit here. He'll all defend on this next attack here, which is probably going to be military at the box for Demagogue. I forget what he's on his box. I imagine it's probably going to be... what is it? It is Abandoning Honor. Okay. Infinite Finesse saying, I think Demagogue is in trouble here. I believe so. This is not looking good for sure. And Demagogue is actually going to go ahead and make this attack. Again, I think this is a mistake because Retired to the Brotherhood, again, going to reset all these little wieners into something bigger, potentially. Or worst case scenario, they replace themselves and nothing happens. So here's Retired to the Brotherhood. We're going to see Lina trigger it and gets another Prodigy, an Ethereal Dreamer, and a Suki. So the Ethereal Dreamer is not going to have the bonus stats since the trigger happens at the beginning of the conflict phase, but Suki and Prodigy of the Wiz are pretty good here too. We'll see an all-out defense from Lina, which probably means that since this is political, we're going to see Clarity and we're going to see Against the Waves. Or double Clarity. No defense into 3x backhanded. No, we already know what Demagogue's hand is, and so he would have to God draw Master Whisper into all 3 backhandeds in that situation. Here's Clarity of Purpose on the Inferno Guard Invoker. Okay, so that's 1. Demagogue still yet to use the Master Whisperer and still yet to use the Imperial Storehouse, so you could draw that into some options here. But last we saw from his hand, it was Court Games and Assassination plus 1 mystery card that we have not seen yet. So none of these things are particularly relevant right now. I guess you can go ahead and assassinate Suki if you're feeling confident about it. Lina equals Fleepa or not? No, of course not. Lina just started playing last week. She's very new, but she's doing very well in this tournament. Alright, there's a Cloud of the Mind coming out on the Master Whisperer, so that's actually huge. That prevents Demagogue from drawing any more options. Assassinate was pretty good there. But now Demagogue needs to use the Storehouse. It's just sitting there. No reason not to use it at this point. Here's the Court Games coming out. We're going to dishonor this Ethereal Dreamer. And there's a Clarity on the Prodigy as well. So only 1 card left for Demagogue in hand. This is definitely trouble. He's not going to use the Storehouse still. We still don't know what this last card is. Okay, now he's going to use the Storehouse. Lina with 4 cards in hand, but on board, that's a lot of military strength, and so now we attack into Abandoning Honor. Not quite enough stats here for Demagogue. He would have to have like Bonsai exactly, but even that's not enough. Oh no, because he has the favor. So actually, yeah. So Bonsai exactly would be his only saving grace here. We see a pass, which means that Lina's going to go ahead and honor the Inferno Guard Invoker, and that should be game right there. Way the Scorpion dishonors the Inferno Guard Invoker. Okay. But Lina had a Bonsai, so that should do it. Demagogue passes, and Lina wins. Yeah, he was trying to play all his cards. That's definitely why he waited there, but it's kind of greedy, right? So like you have to go ahead and find the opportunities to do it. So like if you had the Way of the Scorpion beforehand, you might as well just played it on the Inferno Garden Invoker in that conflict, and then go ahead and Master Whisper as soon as possible before something like Cloud could come out. So that'll be the end of the road for Demagogue this week. But in the finals now, we're going to have Lina Morgan versus Villabriga in a what I understand is a Spanish Grand Finals.